Hello, sacred souls and curious wanderers. We're back today with another tarot exploration video. And today is the Emperor. So the last episode was the Empress, and this episode is the Emperor. And this guy gets a really bad rap. I hear a lot of crap about this guy, and he's not all bad. So we're going to go ahead and break that stigma today. He definitely has a shadow side, as we all do, and the masculine energy, because it is so fierce, can obviously have a shadow side that's pretty gnarly. So we're going to go ahead and chat about that. I have my notes over to the side here as usual, so if I'm looking off camera, that is why. I also like to look out the windows when I'm speaking to the camera, I've noticed. So there's also that too. Now, where should we begin? So we're looking at masculine energy, right? We've looked at the Empress and the High Priestess. So we've been talking feminine, intuitive, emotional, cosmic energy. And now we're moving into the Emperor, which is more sovereignty. It's power and control of oneself. It's logic. It's doer energy, as opposed to creator. And it is a necessary energy, and it lies within all of us. So masculine and feminine, I need to make a video on this. Masculine and feminine lives within us all. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you're just solely feminine, and just because you're a male doesn't mean that you are solely masculine. There is masculine and feminine within us all, and the key to harmony in life is to be able to balance that, or find a balance, or a communication, a communion, a relationship, a flow, if you will, between those two energies. And so let's go ahead and pick out some of the signs and symbols in the card first, as we usually do, as I have done in the past videos. And then we'll jump into some themes, the reversed meaning, what it means in a spread, and then also some journaling prompts and questions to sort of sit with, which I haven't written a whole lot down, but I'm sure we'll find some as we go and as we're discussing the themes and energies. So the first sign or symbol that we're going to pull out of this card, there's 4 of them, and it is the Roman numeral of 4 as well, this card. So that numerology is significant of like the 4 pillars of the foundation, right? It's stability and order. So in order to make a stable foundation for a house, you've got the 4 corners, right? And on here you've got 4 ram heads, and those are significant of the first sign in the zodiac of Aries, which is a sign of leadership and ambition and drive, which this guy is all about. Drive and passion is a huge thing. The Empress has this creative desire to birth into existence what it is within them, and then the Emperor has this drive or passion, ambition, if you will, to put that together. Not necessarily the creation process like the feminine talks about, but the actual process of it. So the being, the doing, the assessment of what needs to be done and actually doing it. The next thing that I'd like to point out, as usual, there's symbols and signs that we could pick out for hours here, but the next thing I'd like to pick out is the beard. So a long white beard is representative of wisdom, and not just like cosmic wisdom like the Empress and the High Priestess talk about, but wisdom gathered throughout time, throughout a lived experience here. So you usually see older men with a big grey beard, and they have walked the journey. they have learned the lessons, they've made mistakes, and they've got back up again, and they've rebuilt, and they've learnt about the process and how to really create from one's own ambition, so to speak. We're going away from nature's cycles here. We're kind of a rule breaker. We're breaking the rules. We're making our own because we don't do what others tell us. There's definitely no Scorpio energy in this card, but that kind of gives me Scorpio energy. Yeah, the next thing that we have is the Ankh. Now, it's not depicted like the traditional Ankh that you see, but it is an Ankh nevertheless, the Egyptian Ankh, and that represents eternal life and life force energy. And that of the masculine as it's in his right hand. So we can touch on that deeper when we get into themes and things like that. And then the final symbol that we have is this golden orb. Now, this is referenced differently in just about every area that I've done my research. So on the internet, just in general, it's referenced as the golden orb quite a lot. In my Rider-Waite tarot book that I have here that I've mentioned in the previous videos, it references it as a golden apple. And it also references the significance of that being authority and domination over one's own life. So they're definitely themes that we're playing with. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. That's from the Rider-Waite tarot deck, that card there. But yeah, so moving on into themes and energies, ambition and passion. So it's the doer, he's the achiever, he's passionate, he desires to break free from the status quo. He desires to make his own rules, to walk his own path, to do it his own gosh darn way. And to hell with anyone who says anything otherwise. No, he's not all bad. Obviously the shadow side or the dark side or the reversed meaning of a tarot card is that of its themes in an imbalanced quantity, for lack of a better word. So yeah, it's ambition and passion can obviously be seen negatively and can be taken too far. So at what cost? Usually I talk about the themes and then I go into talking about the reversed meaning after, but I'm kind of going to just touch on those together in themes. It just makes a little bit more sense, and I kind of feel like I'm backtracking when I do it the other way. So we're going to change that up a little bit. Yeah, it can become like doer, achiever, passionate, ambition. It can come through as stubbornness. It can come through as an inability to bend, as a lack of empathy. You know, like I said before, it is about balance of the masculine and feminine. If you're just in be a doer, achiever, you know, the ambition, the desire, the passionate side of things, and you're not tapped into the feminine of like empathy and creativity and, you know, compassion, you're going to come across as arrogant, as stubborn, as rude, as aggressive, as angry. Yeah, so we're definitely, when we're working with the Emperor, it is really about finding balance because it is fiery energy. If you tap too far into it, getting that witchy reference again, like it's chaos. It can devour you and, you know, take a bit of you and the people that are around you. So yeah, we've also got discipline and logic as themes. And so I like to refer to the masculine as the logical side. Like when I'm talking about my own masculine and feminine, my feminine is my creator, my nurturer, my mother, and my masculine is my logical father, doer, achiever. And so if that is taken too far, it's going to turn into like we spoke about, control. Like if you're assessing the situation, and you're going to come at it logically, and you have all of the things that you need, and you make sure you're prepared, and then you start walking that path. That's all well and good, but if you're not open to allowing things to unfold as they are meant to, as opposed to what you wanted, the energy is going to become imbalanced, and it's going to get controlling, it's going to get complacent, it's going to get heavy, so to speak. There's also good. I don't know where I was going with that. There's also a power in boundary setting with this card. So I want you to think of times that you have put boundaries up with people that have both A, been listened to, and B, been ignored, and then have a look at the key differences in the way that you communicated that boundary. And so with this fiery energy, 1111, as I look down, with this fiery energy, it's a great energy to set those boundaries so that they're not overstepped. If you're kind of wishy-washy, if you're not certain, if you're not assertive, if you're not passionate when you're setting a boundary, it doesn't have to be rude, it doesn't have to be arrogant, again, the imbalance, but if you're too soft about it, boundaries get overstepped. And this is why women constantly have their boundaries overstepped, because we try and be the people pleaser, we try and be the nice guy, we try and, soften the blow, so to speak, and keep people happy and comfortable. But sometimes we need the Emperor, sometimes we need the masculine energy, sometimes we need that fiery energy to go, hey, you've overstepped a boundary, here's where the line is, don't cross it again. That's not rude, that's not selfish, it's not wrong, and it's not something that you should be afraid of doing. Obviously, there is an imbalanced side to that of, not wording it correctly and being impulsive with it. If you're impulsive with that fiery energy when you're setting boundaries, it's going to come across as arrogant and rude, and it's going to come across as a test, and people are just going to want to overstep that boundary because of how you made them feel, or because of how your words made them feel, or your projected emotion in that moment made them feel. So definitely being aware when we're using that type of energy to set boundaries of how we're wording it and what our body language says also. So if you're using a fiery, assertive, passionate tone, you don't really need to be throwing your hands around and making faces and getting up in someone's space, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's definitely that as well. And the last topic is leadership. So we've spoken a little bit about the whole rule breaker. We've spoken a little bit about, ambition and drive and paving your own path. But this very much is a leadership card. It's finding out what it is you want, how you can get there, what tools are provided already, what tools are created, what people have already walked this path and what do they do, and what do I need to do it, and how can I get that regardless of if it is what people expect or believe to be, sound, believe to be right, believe to be within reason. Those are definitely all of the characteristics and energies of the Emperor. So understandably, he can be seen as a bad guy, he can be seen as aggressive, he can be seen as all of the big and scary things, and like women are depicted a certain way in the world, so are men. So it's about remembering, for I think both of these energies, is worth saying that there is an imbalanced side. It's not just men are this and women are that. It is about how we balance our own masculine and feminine within us, and how we share that with the world. Not all men, it's not all men, and it's not all women, sort of thing. So now if the Emperor comes up in a spread, it's definitely a good sign to be you know, taking charge and welcoming that logic in and tackling something head on and thinking about what it is you need, and, you know, assessing the path that's in front of you, and, you know, holding yourself accountable, moving forward, using all of those types of energies. It can be reminding you just to tap into the masculine energy. Maybe you're too far into the feminine creative flow of, oh, everything's just going to happen, it's all going to be good, and you need a little bit of that, let's get this done, this is how we're going to do it, this is our expectation for ourselves, or these are our boundaries for ourselves. It can also, like, if it's reversed, it could be asking you to open your heart, open your mind, don't be so stubborn. You know, what situations are happening in your life that you're not really listening to all perspectives on, or that you have been maybe happening for a while, and because of how you felt back then, or because of how long it's dragged out, you feel a certain way and you're unable to, you know, reassess with a fresh mind. You know, it can definitely be, if it's reversed, that you're tapped way into that stubborn, aggressive, assertive, dominant side. Perhaps you're leading too much and not following. You know, we're all learning up until the day that we leave this beautiful planet. We are students and we are learning. And so it can ask you to step out of that leadership, or balance your leadership role with a learner role, a student role, and allow yourself to be directed. You don't have control of everything, and you never will. It's not the point. It could just mean that you're lacking balance in your feminine, that you're lacking empathy, that you're lacking the ability to create and connect and inspire, and that you need to tap into that energy a little bit more. If it pops up with the Empress, particularly that, you know, if you've got the masculine upside down and the Empress, the feminine, the right way up next to it, it could mean that, hey, you are way too tapped into your masculine, you need to tap into the feminine type energy. And that's everything pretty much that I had written down that I wanted to chat about. We're into reflection questions now, and this is homework, if you will. This is not necessarily questions to ask yourself to find the answers to get better at anything, but these are questions and prompts that, upon reflecting on, will connect you with that Emperor energy. And so the first one I have here is, how do I relate to power and control? When you're in charge of leading a team, how does that make you feel? Do you like it? Is that what you'd rather be doing? Does it make you uncomfortable? Is it something that you don't like to do? Do you not like to people lead? Do you not like to train? Do you not like to guide and, delegate? And then on the other hand, like, when somebody is given a leadership role over you, how do you take to direction, to criticism, to being told what to do? How does that sit with you? What type of person are you? Are you the person who likes to be led, or are you the person who likes to lead? And are you doing that from a place of balanced energy or imbalanced energy? Are you tapping too much into the masculine and not enough of the feminine? Those are some questions to sit with. And then, how can I focus this energy towards the development of myself and not the control of others? So how can I keep this energy in balance, basically, and not tap into the imbalanced or shadow side of this energy? So we can focus on using that ambition and that drive and that ability to lead and that fire and that, boundary setting, the doer achiever. How can we put that into our own lives, into our own routine, into our own living, as opposed to trying to impose it on other people? where am I doing that now? Where am I already, you know, having this energy? Where is it already balanced in my life? And where do I sometimes need to be aware that it is out of balance? So yes, we've done the High Priestess, we've done the Empress, and now we've done the Emperor. And I do feel like those cards are kind of a little group of cards within the major arcana themselves. But yeah, I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I love to film these major arcana videos. I can't wait to get into the depth of tarot a little more when we get into the minor arcana and then also the suits, which is so much fun. But yeah, I am glad that you're following along. If you made it to the end of this video, maybe put a 444 down in the comments to let me know that you made it to the end. I appreciate you so much, and I look forward to hearing any feedback or suggestions for moving forward.